As Murad tells us, believers will make the most money in 2025. And if you believed over the last 3 weeks while everything was looking like it was against you, you had a very good day yesterday. Look at this. Bitcoin, guys, went from $85,000 all the way up to $95,000. Its first ever $10,000 candle. And if you go over to crypto bubbles, you can see some insane returns. I mean, you're like, Bitcoin had a 10K candle. Try and find Bitcoin here. You wouldn't, because, well, I mean, maybe you will, but it's hard to, because it's a very normal looking 7.7% increase when you had other alts. And we're going to talk about how you can get leverage on this Bitcoin narrative by going down the risk curve to things like XRP, to ADA, who were all included in Trump's big announcement about making an official US reserve with Bitcoin and top layer ones. Lots to talk about. I won't put my opinion in here, but it will be inside this video. Have a look at ADA, 62.5%. It went from a market cap of $22 billion up to $40 billion. This is the 7-day graph, an insane jump and an insane candle for Cardano. So congratulations to everyone who was holding Cardano. Bitcoin therapist says, what the actual hell, after Donald Trump tweeted this. This is the dynamite that is now put back under the market, and FOMO is jumping in, and all the people who are bearish are starting to really be like, oh, did I just get scared by the final shakeout? Donald Trump tweeted, a US crypto reserve will elevate this critical industry after years of corrupt attacks by the Biden administration, which is why my executive order on digital assets directed to the Presidential Working Group to move forward on a crypto strategic reserve. Guys, that is absolutely insane. It's not a Bitcoin strategic reserve. And again, I'm going to reserve my thoughts. I think Bitcoin strategic reserve would probably be a better long-term play for the US. But in terms of the short-term and printing generational wealth, 2025 is really sizing up to be that year for us, because it's a crypto strategic reserve that includes XRP, Solana, and Cardano. Obviously, that's why Cardano absolutely pumped. The XRP and Solana did too, but I think they were more likely to be listed in something like this, where Cardano is a little bit of a surprise. I'll make sure that the US is the crypto capital of the world. We are making America great again. Now, what you might notice in this first tweet by Donald Trump, which I believe he put this out on Truth Social, not actually on Twitter, but people will repost this over here on Twitter for us to make it easy, because we're not on Truth Social. He didn't mention Bitcoin or Ethereum, the top 2 cryptocurrencies in the world. In fact, he mentioned XRP, Solana, and ADA in the first one, which these things absolutely pumped as he mentioned it. And Bitcoin and Ethereum, everyone was a bit confused. It's like, wait a second, are we just doing a Cardano reserve without even using Bitcoin? And so Donald Trump tweeted up a clarification. And so this was at 10:38 a.m., which was 14 minutes after the first one. He had to clarify once people were like, what the hell is actually going on? He says, and obviously, Bitcoin and ETH as other valuable cryptocurrencies will be at the heart of the reserve. I also love Bitcoin and Ethereum. And that meant that everyone was gaining, everyone was partying, gave Bitcoin the first ever 10K candle. I'll talk about that in a second. David Sachs, who is the White House AI and crypto czar, says that President Trump has announced a crypto strategic reserve consisting of Bitcoin and other top cryptocurrencies. Pretty mind-blowing that this is actually included in the official reserve for the biggest empire the world has ever seen. This is consistent with his week 1 executive order. President Trump is keeping his promise to make the US the crypto capital of the world. More to come at the summit. The summit is in 4 days or 5 days in the White House, and Donald Trump will be giving his remarks on crypto, which is why crypto started to pump a little bit before this actual official Bitcoin reserve announcement. But this, guys, if this doesn't make you bullish in 2025, I mean, get out now. This is the most bullish thing you could see. Trump is pro Bitcoin. Trump is pro layer ones. Trump is pro crypto. Trump is pro meme coins, launching one for him and one for his wife, Melania. I mean, what more bullish signals could you want? Alex Becker says, bull run. If you want to know why, we just talk about what other people say on this channel, because that's what we do. We look at the best crypto traders in the world, people who have turned literally $3,000 into $2 million, talking about crypto god John. And we use their philosophies, which have a proven track record in the market, to inform what we are going to do with our money. Luke Belmar, someone who made for about $30 million off PancakeSwap, says the bull run is back. CZ, who's one of the wealthiest people in crypto, having launched the biggest centralized exchange, says, people often ask me what the next driver and pump for crypto will be. I usually say I don't know, meaning it doesn't actually matter what the next thing to drive crypto forward will be. There's always a new narrative. Right now, it's that Donald Trump wants to back the US dollar with Bitcoin, but adoption often happens in the most unexpected ways. No boring days in crypto. I hope you held. Crypto God John says, we went from down-only candles to God candle in the matter of 72 hours. Have a look at this God candle. The first ever $10,000 Bitcoin candle. You can see it's massive compared to the ones that came before. These are the daily candles, of course. And guess what, guys? Remember in the 2017 bull run when Bitcoin topped out, I believe, at about 18,000 US dollars? This candle is bigger than half of that entire bull run. And this is what you're going to see in the future. If you understand Bitcoin and how it's literally the hardest money we've ever created and how it's the best store of value in the world and all wealth will eventually flow into the best store of value, you will understand that we will have 100K candles in the future, which is obviously bigger than the entire price of Bitcoin right now. Ash Crypto says mega alt season is coming. Why? Because multiple countries will soon follow this. You had El Salvador leading the way. Now you have the US, who is actually really early in the trend still. CZ says, you can buy Bitcoins after the US government is done buying or before. This was Feb 20, 10 days before the US government said that they're going to be buying. You also see BlackRock is now allocating 1%. The world's largest private equity firm is putting billions in. And I mean, if that wasn't a big giveaway, we're just being silly. CZ says, I hope you took advantage of the dip. Remember, you make your own decisions and actions. Now, why is this such a massive thing? And why do I believe this is not just to sell the news event? Okay, he's announced it now. Now what else do we have to look forward to? Maybe we have a crypto ball in 4 days where Trump's going to say something, but is it really just going to return to a bear market? Well, personally, I don't think so, because he's announced their intention to buy. But the thing is, with the perfect money, the hardest form of money we ever have, that's literally scarce and there's only so many Bitcoins, is they now need to buy it. And when they buy it, even if they buy it OTC, which means over the counter and not actually off the market, so they won't pump the price by buying into the order book of what's available, they'll still take millions, possibly millions of Bitcoins off of the market, really squeezing the supply. And therefore, over the medium to long term, absolutely pumping this up. And now, of course, the other thing we have to talk about is game theory. If you know what nation state game theory is, you're probably going to make a lot of money. If you don't, welcome. I'm going to tell you right now. Now, in game theory, it's basically working out what the best thing for you and the group to do in order to get the best net outcome. And in this example here, they have nation A and nation B in this prisoner's dilemma sort of schematic. In the first situation, neither nation A and nation B buy Bitcoin, we're talking about, and central banking is unaffected. However, if you're nation A and nation B buy, so say you're the USA is up here and Canada's down here. If Canada starts buying Bitcoin and getting it really low price, just like El Salvador did, they might be getting Bitcoin at the 30s, $40,000. Nation A is going to get poorer and poorer because they're using less sound money. Just like the US bought up all the gold supply and then everyone started pegging their currencies to the US dollar, which is pegged to gold, which strengthened the US dollar. Whoever is going to be pegging their currency to Bitcoin earliest is going to get the best prices, and they know that all the other nation states have to follow, or all of the value inside of their money will be diluted over time. And what ends up happening is A and B become early adopters but give up on the monopoly of money. The only reason they're not printing $1 trillion of paper, really, not even just a digital number in the screen, and then exchanging that for Bitcoin is because they know that they're giving up the monopoly that they have on money as Bitcoin is decentralized, which is very good for us. Lots of opportunities. And this game theory is not just on the nation level, it's also peer-to-peer level. People bought Bitcoin at $1,000 and now you're forced to buy it at $100,000 before it gets to $1 million. And everyone is literally being forced to buy the best store of value we've ever had, but it just depends at what price. And if you're first, you're going to be very, very wealthy. But this also plays out on a state level, as Florida are going to buy $1.85 billion of Bitcoin if their bill is passed, but also on a business level, someone like MicroStrategy is now competing, and on an individual level, people like us are competing. And have a look at the room that Bitcoin has to grow just to match gold. And Bitcoin's ETF has far out exceeded anything that gold has done in the past, just because Bitcoin is a superior form of gold. It's digital, it's quicker, it's more secure. We don't have to go into the real details here, but you know that Bitcoin is eventually going to eat into gold's market cap just because it's a superior form of money. And therefore, it's got a 10x to go before it even matches gold's current point. But remember, gold's probably going to grow over time too. And even Michael Saylor talks about this massive move that the US could make where they would sell all of their gold to buy Bitcoin, crash the gold market, and move to the Bitcoin standard. And that would make every other nation that's holding gold even further behind, because gold crashes, Bitcoin soars, and the US are holding now 10% say supply of Bitcoin. Max Kaiser says $2.2 million Bitcoin is in play. Everything will eventually go to zero against Bitcoin. Now, another side story, a little side quest here, which I thought was really fascinating, is Coin Bureau tweeted this out, but this was a couple of days ago. There was a guy, which was obviously a whale, who opened a $200 million bet on Ethereum and Bitcoin with 50x leverage. Just an absolute degenerate, obviously, who has a lot of money, $200 million. $123 million long on Ethereum and a $72 million long on Bitcoin. Now, this is like unheard of, unseen before. And everyone's like, what the hell is that? This guy's either insane or he knows something. And turns out he knows something. The theory is that it is someone related to Donald Trump or Donald Trump Jr. or someone in their party or someone who has inside information that Ethereum and Bitcoin is literally going to be backing the US dollar. Because you saw the candles after Donald Trump's tweet that absolutely skyrocketed and obviously made this man millions and millions of dollars. John says, and John's the guy that we track for Alpha, he says, the hyperliquid whale insider just printed generational wealth. I need to meet that man ASAP for his connections and information. He's moving up the social food chain as well, trying to get earlier and earlier onto these narratives, because it really is, guys. Whoever has that information and that narrative the earliest is going to make the most money. And that's what literally we dedicate this whole channel to. Him over on Twitter says, nobody takes that kind of leverage with that kind of size at such short notice without knowing something prior. He actually tweets out crime on chain, talking about insider trading. But again, it's tough because are these securities? It's only insider trading if you class these as securities, which they currently are not classed as. Now, have a look at the time frame here. It says President Trump has officially announced a U.S. strategic crypto reserve, and Bitcoin is back over $94,000 per coin. In just 3 hours, crypto markets have now added over $300 billion US of market cap on the news. What's coming next? Let us explain. You can see this was that first tweet we read out together where he talked about ADA, Sol, and XRP, which the entire market cap of all cryptos soared up to here, and it kept soaring from a 2.76 trillion market cap all the way up to past a $3 trillion market cap. And then here, this is where Trump says that Bitcoin and ETH are also included in that. And you can see it continued to soar upwards. But what does this mean for us? Because on this channel, we talk about the crypto whip, and you can see the big dogs. Everyone, I don't have Cardano in here, but you got Bitcoin, Ethereum, XRP, Solana, all the big market cap tokens up on the handle of the whip. But what happens as market sentiment returns and people start rushing back into crypto because they know that the biggest countries, the biggest nation states, the biggest private equity firms, and all the big businesses and individuals are now all in a race to buy as much Bitcoin as possible before everybody else does. What happens is a lot of liquidity gets put into crypto. And then when you think, oh, okay, you saw those crypto bubbles at the start, right? Where you're like, oh, Bitcoin added billions of dollars, if not hundreds of billions of dollars to its market cap on that tweet. But ADA is up 10 times the amount. Well, that's because the further down you move down this crypto whip, the smaller the market cap, but the higher the leverage is on the play. So if you're investing in something down here like PAL AI, but it's a mid-tier AI token at the moment, it sits around, I'd probably guess about 150 mil market cap. It can 20x and only get to a $2 billion market cap, where if you add $2 billion onto Bitcoin, you're not going to see really any return at all. And this is what we call alt season. And even this tweet here I thought was very interesting. Now let's just get ahead of the scandal here. Community note says this image is not real and is digitally altered. President Trump did not tweet this. However, I thought the response that it got was still worth noting. So 1.3 million views on Twitter. And it said, Donald Trump has officially declared alt season. There will be a tremendous alt season like you've never seen before. It will be so great they will call it the Trump season. This is the fake tweet, but it went absolutely viral because people are like, is it just going to be a Bitcoin season, or are we also going to be getting our 50, 100x returns in the altcoin? And given the amount of attention on this, and also given that Trump is trying to make the US the crypto capital in the world, I would say alt season is definitely in play. Ash Crypto says ETH is going to $10,000 per coin. Crypto God John says see you at new all-time highs. Luke Belmar says one more 100x play and I'll be happy. That's all you need, guys, to really make generational wealth, is a strong conviction on a 100x play. Alex Becker says it will be the most hated alt rally in history and it's coming soon. And now the next narrative is, imagine what happens if Trump announces no capital gains tax on crypto. They want to be the crypto capital of the world. A lot of narratives are playing out and a lot of action is still to come. They actually need to make these massive purchases, which will really just have an insane supply shock on the market. Now, if you want to move yourself up the social narrative and get the alpha before everybody else, which is really important when market sentiment is high. Yes, when market sentiment's low, like it's been in these 10s and 20s, not much is actually moving. But still, inside of our whale tracker, inside of our inner circle, there was an alert that went off that gave you a 2x return when the fear index was 10. Now, when the fear index is up, these gains are insane. You're going from literally 30 mil market caps to 360 mil market caps, or 13x on something like Cheyenne in just 2 days. There's a couple more here. Pinlink, a 12x in just 2 weeks. And as market sentiment returns, we're going to be printing those gains once again. And I'm really bullish on the rest of 2025. So if you want to get buy and sell alerts when any of the big influencers in the world are buying into new crypto projects, the moment that they buy in, because we're literally scanning the blockchain, looking at their wallets, and then we'll give you an alert through our Telegram bot that says that what they bought, when they bought, and exactly how much they bought it. We also track their Twitters and all their social pages. So if they're tweeting about something that they're looking at getting into, or something that they're going to get into, just like when Trump tweets and the whole market absolutely goes crazy. On a slightly smaller scale, this is happening within the altcoins and meme coins. As any of the big influencers are interested in them, it's going to pump the market. In my opinion, is basically the only thing that pumps the market, because everything in crypto is a narrative trade. There's very little utility outside of something like Bitcoin and the store of value at the moment, so everything is traded based on narrative. This is a graph that I made from Murad's thesis. People are understanding that monetary inflation, which is how much money is being printed, far outpaces any returns you can get in stocks, investments, commodities, even real estate. If you couldn't borrow against the actual house, or bonds, or cash and cash equivalents, you're going to be losing the value of your money day after day after day until you get into the riskier assets. Now, these riskier assets, obviously, on one side are extremely risky, and a lot of people are going to lose a lot of money because they're just going to go down and down the meme curve till they get to pump fund and turn their money into zero. But if you know what you're doing, if you know you're further up the social narrative food chain than other people, you can literally print hundreds of thousands of dollars in a day, as I have, and as many people have inside the crypto world. But even if you just have the risk appetite for something like Bitcoin and Solana, crypto is basically the only place that we can be to outpace inflation at the moment. So you're in the right spot. If you're not a part of our inner circle, leave the link in the description below. I'd love to see you in there. We have some awesome updates rolling out, and I sent some pretty incredible whale tracker alerts going off in the next couple of months as market sentiment picks up for this super cycle.